Alright, now it's time to talk spoilers for Invincible Season 3. If you have not watched any episodes of Season 3, this video is not for you. And why are you stalling? Why are you delaying? Go watch Season 3 right now. Get off the video, go get caught up, and then come on back. Because we're gonna dive into some spoilers. Now, I apologize in advance if I don't mention any particular spoiler that you wanted me to break down. I'm just basically going to address what I felt, which spoilers stood out to me the most. And there's a lot of spoilers that were really well executed and well written. But I'm going to start off with Mark and Eve finally getting together. Like, they are the power couple, probably arguably the heart of Season 3. Like, the way they grow closer, and then I didn't expect them to get together, as soon as they did. I thought we would have to wait until mid Season 3 or by the end. But from looking at some of the issues of the comics of how the pattern has been overall following the source material, like, okay, around this time, this is when it would be happening. And as it happened sooner than I thought, but I'm not going to complain because I've been waiting for those two to get together. Like, from how I've read the comics, like, I didn't read all of them, but most of them, and I was like, I like these two together, and I feel like they're portrayed just as good together as a couple as than how they are when you just see in panels. So that's pretty cool. And another thing is when Invincible and Cecil clash, like where Invincible finds out what Cecil was doing, like where what Darkwing, be part of the team, and then find out about D.A. Sinclair, like where he's now working for Cecil, and then making Reaniman, basically under his authority. I mean, I get why Mark is pissed off about that. I mean, given of how he first encountered D.A. Sinclair with William, and then almost being killed by him, and then Rick, and then there's Rick, he's a friend of Mark's as well. And I get, with those reasons alone, I get why Mark is pissed about that. But at the same time, those Reanimen are the reason why the Guardians of the Globe were able to get out of the grip of of Dr. Seismic. I almost forgot his name. Like when he kidnapped all the Guardians of the Globe, including Invincible and Adam Eve, the Reanimen got them out of their little prisons, where they got them in these little bubbles or whatever. So I get why Mark is pissed, and then I get why he is kind of pissed about Darkwing, but I mean, and then at the same time with Cecil, I get why he's doing what he why he's cooking this strategy up, because after the events with Omni-Man, and who's to say Omni-Man would come back and make shit worse? We don't know. I mean, well, I'm sure us fans know, who we read the comics and all that stuff, and we know, but these characters outside of Mark, especially Cecil, they want to be prepared for the next time it happens. And not to mention the Viltrumites, the whole Viltrum Empire, they're looking to conquer Earth. So, yeah, I can't blame Cecil for wanting to have some sort of a plan B if things with Invincible go south. Let's say if he, what if he fails to stop them, whatever, etc. But when it comes down to it, I'm kind of on Mark's side, because I get why he's pissed. Let's say he's like, okay, cool, and then William gets pissed off with him for that. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's a gray area with between the two of them, of how, okay, he's not happy with this, with how he's going about this thing, and then Cecil's like, well, this is why I gotta do this, and such and such. But yeah, at the end of the day, I can't blame Invincible or half of the Guardians leaving like basically like, you know what, we're done. We're done. We're done with Cecil. I mean, I can't understand why they feel that way. Man, crazy, crazy. Now on to Powerplex. Man, Aaron Paul portrayed the voice of Powerplex really well, to where you can feel his pain in like in the performance, whatever, and where he's like, you know, the like where his sister and niece were killed by, you know, the Omni Man disaster. Well, I mean, I know, and then he's mad at Invincible also, and he's pissed with Omni Man, but he wants to take it out on Invincible. But that wasn't Invincible's fault. I mean, like, he was getting tossed around like a rag doll. He was trying to stop Omni Man, and he tried to save his, you know, Powerplex's niece and sister. He tried to save them. It's not like he woke them and just decided, no, I'm not going to save them. I'm just going to leave them to die. He tried to save them. And dang, how far he was willing to go to retaliate against Invincible, where he's willing to have his wife and his son in the line of fire, where they pretend they, you know, like you to use, like, let's say we're going to be the bait to draw out Invincible. So when he gets here, then you kill him. But instead, the wife and child end up suffering the fate that Powerplex wanted the Invincible to have. And then he's like, oh, Invincible is all your fault. That was your fault. Dude, that was definitely on you. That was your fault, bro. Your fault. Oh, man. And then we see him an episode later, and then he's ranting on again. This Invincible, that's his fault, that's his fault, that's his fault, that's his fault. Now on to the Invincible War. Like how we're slowly building up to that, where you see hints that Angstrom Levy survived, you know, like the beat down by Invincible. Like, dang. And then when we go back to when Invincible walks away, like, oh, I killed him. And then we see that he's barely alive. He's like, and then he teleports his way back to the mechanics who saved him, pretty much. So they saved him once again. So Invincible never killed him. He came close. If Angstrom Levy stayed there, he definitely would have died. But he got to the mechanics just in time for them to help him. So he recruits all the evil Invincibles from other dimensions, and so they can come to the main Invincibles world and wreak havoc, to where everybody sees, like, everyone looks like Invincible, like where they'll think of Invincible. When they think of him, they'll think of all the mayhem that the other Invincibles are causing. Like, that is crazy. And that was fun to see. It was intense as fuck. My favorite doppelgangers has to be the two ones with the cape. One that's like Omni-Man, the other that's like gold and black. Like, that's pretty damn cool. I mean, like, there's just something about that. It just looked menacing, especially the Omni-Man version, where he's just really calm and collected. I'm just like, yeah, I think that's the doppelganger I would not want to fuck with. But yeah, and like, you know, like, I was like, for a moment I was confused, like, why does Angstrom even want to recruit the Invincibles that are actually bad? Like, okay. And then I like, wait, okay, so he basically kind of wants them to kill each other, pretty much. And he wants them to tarnish Mark's reputation. And then he does end up fucking them over in the end, you know, like, teleporting them all into the desert where he almost died. And then round 2, Invincible versus Angstrom Levy. That was a cool fight too, where Invincible is not as easy to toy with this time around, like where you can't really knock him into a portal, you can't really let him fly into one. He'll just dodge it quickly, and then you get all these gadgets and like coming at him and hitting him with all these gadgets, and then Invincible is holding him and punching him away, and then he comes close to going through a portal, and then he's punching his way away from the portal, and then he gets a hold of Angstrom Levy, almost kills him, or I guess before he could kill him, he teleports out of there, and he loses his arm. Oh man, that was so funny. That was so funny. And I have to say that Oliver, like taking on the mantle of Kid Omni-Man, that's a pretty funny title. But I like him as a character. Like I said in my spoiler-free video, he's pretty cool, and then he adds a pretty cool addition to the story. You know, like I do like how they have like a couple of brotherly fights, like Mark and Oliver, especially when Eve stays the night. And then Oliver is the worst wingman. He is the worst wingman. That was so funny. They kept kicking each other at the breakfast table, at the dinner table. I mean, that's just so fucking funny. Now to the main event, to the season finale. Conquest has arrived. Yeah, and portrayed awesomely by Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I know there was a post a while back after season 1 ended, I think, and then like you saw Jeffrey Dean Morgan with comics of Invincible, and you're like, okay, so who is he gonna play? Is it gonna be Conquest or Thrag? I'm like, I think he could do one or the other. And then I see in the credits, oh, he's Conquest. Ow! When he made his arrival, man, the silhouette is huge as fuck, nearly taking up that whole block where Invincible is. You're like, stand ready for my arrival, worm. And then it ended beautifully, like in that episode 7. And then they charge at each other, and then goes to the credits. No mid-credits scene, no nothing. It just stays right there. And then when we get to the season finale, it's like, there's a recap, there's the title card, let's jump right back to the action. And man, oh man, oh man, oh man, it surpassed my hype. Like, just when I thought, does it get any cooler than Invincible versus Omni-Man? That's saying a lot, because that was a really cool fight as well. But man, talk about replay value. Like, I couldn't tell you my favorite part of the fight. I couldn't tell you one that stood out above the rest, because it was like beat by beat by beat by beat, and then they do add more to it in the show, like with adding more depth to Conquest, like where he opens his heart out to Mark as has him pinned down on the ground and is ready to choke the life out of him. Man, and then, oh man, that is insane. And then giving Adam Eve more time to fight with him, like where she throws in the several licks on the guy than she did in the comics, before he finally goes, okay, I'm done playing around. And then he clocks her in the face, and then impels her through the torso, putting his whole hand through the torso out of her back like that. Like wow. Intense as fuck. And then we get back to the Invincible. Like, man, how about when Kid Omni-Man he almost kills him a couple times, especially when he has him up in the air and he's slowly pulling him, like, from his feet, from his leg, like he's slowly pulling him apart, but he doesn't pull him apart, but you hear bones cracking, and his teeth knocked out, and he's crying, and tears are falling. All of his Kid Omni-Man's tears are falling on the Conquest's face, and he's just like, this is gonna be amazing. Like, oh, wow. I freak out, because at any given moment they could flip the switch, like where, yeah, you people know what happens in the comics, but we're gonna flip this one on its head now, and they could do that at any minute. That's why I'm just like, oh my gosh. And there's just so much that happened in that fight. It is so fucking awesome. And it's wild how there's more to Conquest, like where he's saying, like, I'm lonely, none of the Viltrumites talk to me, I don't even have a real name, I just have a purpose, this is all I'm good for. I can do so much more, I could cry, but I don't see the point. That is crazy. Fucking crazy. And if it weren't for Adam Eve, I feel like Invincible would have been a goner at that point. But he did win that fight, indeed, from the help of Adam Eve. Like, damn. Talk about a brutal finale. It was so fucking awesome. Dang. And then it leaves Mark in a really dark place where he's like, okay, any other villains that tries to come after the people I love or whatever, I won't hesitate to take them down for good. And then we go to a mid-credit scene where you're like, okay, Damien Darkblood, I don't remember this in the comics. It isn't, is it? And then people who've read every single issue where I've seen YouTube videos, they said, this is different. This never happened in the comics. I'm like, okay, so this is a hint that Invincible maybe where he'll end up going to hell at some point in season 4 and fighting the devil. Interesting. And then some people are speculating that Spawn may make his way into the show like he briefly did in the comics, I think, since they're both, both characters were published in Image Comics. If it happens, nice. If it doesn't, that's fine too. I can completely enjoy the show regardless, but that's interesting to see. And I am predicting, my only prediction is at some point near the end of season 4, I feel like this is how season 4 will end, with a mid-credit scene where Conquest is being held by Cecil. And if you know, in the comics, Conquest, he wakes up and he busts out of his little prison, like his metal prison where he's in there, and then it blows up like how like Cecil said, if he moves, then it goes kaboom. That's what happens. He flies up, butt ass naked, flying, and he takes a good look at Earth, and he's just like, huh, and flies off, and he goes over to where the Viltrumites are, and so he goes back to Thrag. But only I think General Krieg is just like, yeah, get on your knees. And then Conquest is like, I'm sorry, General Regent Fight, I'm sorry. And then we see Thrag for the first time. And then that's the only character I think Conquest is scared of. And the only Viltrumite that is not afraid of Conquest. So they really cooked with Conquest. Imagine how much they're going to be cooking with Thrag. I think Ryan Hurst should be voicing Thrag. Like, someone made a point out of his other voice work, and I'm like, yeah. Until I'm proven otherwise, I want Ryan Hurst to voice Thrag. Please make it happen. I mean, I think Robert Kirkman hinted that the casting of Thrag did happen, but they're not going to announce who it is just yet. So we're just going to have to probably wait another year or until, I don't know, they might keep it under wraps like they did with Conquest. Man. Best season of Invincible by far. And just with what I know, I don't know every single thing, but I know enough where I'm like, there's going to be a lot more for us fans to eat up. Especially with Thrag, man. And then when Conquest comes back in the picture, that's awesome moment too. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they adapt that into the show. It may be a couple seasons. We'll see. What did you think of season 3? I mean, like, is it your favorite season? Leave it in the comments. But yeah, what a season. What a season, guys. Okay, I think I'm going to sign off here for right now. So until then, you guys take care. Subscribe, thumb up, notification bell, the whole shebang. So in the meantime, peace out, y'all.